Hi, I'm Michael Fernandez, and I'm going to be your primary instructor for today. Let's get started. Great, thanks for joining us. I'm Michael Fernandez, and I'm going to be providing this class to you called Deal Sourcing 101. It's a segment of a much longer class and program that we've designed called the Three Kings of Business, where we look at the art of the operator, which is the manager of a business or the leader of a business. And we look at the art of the investor, and we look at the art of the deal maker. Our premise is that in order for you to be effective in buying and selling and building private businesses, or really any business, you really must develop the skills of all those three kings: the operator, the deal maker, and the investor, to do well. And ultimately, the king of all those kings, once you combine all those skills together, is the entrepreneur. But to do that, you need to have a good pipeline of businesses, and you must be able to master the art of deal sourcing. And for us, we really look at this as an art form because there's elements of this that are logical, but there are elements of this that are subjective. But in either way, it's all very, very exciting. So thank you for joining us. Who's going to benefit from this class? Well, this class is really designed for professionals that are interested in acquiring a private business that is valued under $50 million. I mean, there's about 1 million businesses in that category across the United States. There's far more of those businesses than of the large ones. And they trade a lot, they sell a lot, and from our perspective, that is the American dream. The American dream is really to own a privately held business that generates free and clear cash flow that allows you to live the lifestyle that you want to lead. So we designed this specific class for deal sourcing to help either individuals, small teams, or corporations that are interested in buying these small businesses. But this isn't just for the business buyer. This class is also very valuable for business brokers, iBankers, lawyers, accountants, or any service providers that work with people who acquire and buy businesses. And why? Because it really gives them some insight into the challenges that a business buyer faces, and it also allows the service provider to step in at the right time during this process to help these business buyers. Now also, this may interest you if you are currently an employee at a company. Maybe you're working in corporate America, you've been working for a long time, let's say maybe 10, 15 years, you've saved up some money, you got to a point in your career where you're no longer satisfied and you've always dreamt about being an entrepreneur, and now you want to go ahead and buy a business. Well, you should definitely be watching this program as well as all the rest of our classes in our Three Kings of Business so that we can get you up to speed how to go ahead and buy and sell private businesses and for you to be an entrepreneur and be your own boss. So what will you get from this class? In particular, from Deal Sourcing 101, what we want you to do is get a framework for the art of sourcing deals. Just have an understanding of how this works, because deals don't just magically show up. I mean, you have to invest time, energy, and create the process and systems for deals to come to you and create the reputation for deals to come to you. We're also going to help you develop a clear criteria for the businesses that you're going to look for so that you know what you're looking for and you can communicate to others what you're looking for. And we're also going to give you a criteria for the deals you should be looking at. Now, this is different from the companies. These are the deals. And now there's two different things, and I've spent many years seeing many transactions and many buyers make mistakes because they haven't developed a deal criteria. And we're going to help you with that to help you avoid a lot of mistakes and potentially save you millions of dollars in headaches by following this process and this system. Next, we're also going to give you a sense of the process of what's involved in managing a deal, so that the deal flow, so that you can learn from every single one of the deals that you're involved in and processing. And also, we're going to help you understand and shape a method for creating relationships, for helping you get deals, manage deals, execute deals, and so that you can be more successful through your deal-making activities. So now let's talk about actually finding deals. So if we keep it pretty simple, there's two things that you need to keep in mind. You need to be both hunter and gatherer. And you need to hunt for deals and you need to gather deals. And two different approaches, but we're going to bring those together. Now, in terms of hunting and gathering deals, we've created a strategic approach that's going to help bring those two elements together. So let's talk about a couple things that you need to know. One, you're going to need to get a good sense of the deal funnel. And a funnel, as you know, is something that maybe has a large mouth on one end and then a small opening on the other, and things enter on one end and they kind of filter through. And it might be something that you might use to pour gas into your car, for example. But we're going to have a deal funnel to help you. Next, we're going to help you understand friend raising. I'm going to say that again, friend raising, which is different than fundraising. Friend raising. You're going to raise friends that are going to help you execute deals, find deals, and ultimately end up owning a business and do it well. And we're going to explain what that means and how to do that. We're going to talk about deal management because this is where as we say, the devil's in the details here. You can create a tremendous amount of value and knowledge base and give you a competitive advantage if you have a good deal management and good deal process. If you don't, you're really going to be missing out on opportunities. And then it's an obvious thing, but you need to have some tools and some equipment in place to go ahead and do this. So let's talk about the deal funnel. So first of all, you need to find companies that meet your criteria. And soon we'll be talking about the criteria. Next, what you're going to need is you're going to select from those companies deals that you actually want to go ahead and review. From those, you're actually going to go ahead and decide which of those you're going to actually sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. In early stage transactions where someone's raising money for a business from a venture capital, it's not common that any venture capitalist or investor, early stage investor is going to sign an NDA. But in the private side, for more established businesses that are out there, where the IP is already out there, their employees working out there, it is very common that someone will have to sign an NDA. Definitely expected if that business owner or that seller is represented by a good business broker or investment banker, they will have an NDA for every single business buyer to sign. So if you're a business buyer, you want to buy a privately held business, you should be prepared to execute and sign an NDA. And in a separate class, we're going to talk about what you need to do and all the things that you need as a buyer to communicate to sellers and their bankers and their brokers and their attorneys and their accountants that you are equipped and ready, and so that they should consider you as a legitimate professional buyer. And we'll talk about that because I've seen many buyers who want to come and buy a business and just have not been coached properly, and they will never see good deal flow and they don't really know why. And we'll talk about that in a separate class. After you've signed NDAs, you're going to decide which companies you're going to go ahead and meet, and you may put forward an indication of interest. Indication of interest is basically a written 1 or 2 page document that you send over to an owner of a business saying, hey, that you're interested, and it may have no binding terms, but it's letting them know that you're interested in at what level. This is different from a letter of intent, which we'll talk about in a second here. Now, we'll talk about it now. After that, you're going to submit a letter of intent for a portion of those businesses. Now, a letter of intent, what the letter of intent has that the indication of interest doesn't have is that it may have some binding terms or a binding term. It may have a term that says that this letter of intent must be agreed upon by a certain day, or it might have other terms in there as well. We're going to talk about those in a separate class as well. And once you've signed these letters of intent, now it's where the real deal process, the full process comes through, and we're going to walk through that in another class as well. But now, so let's talk about the deal funnel. So the deal funnel, at the top end, you'll see that we've actually reviewed about 2,000 deals let's say this past year. From that, we've only executed 200 NDAs. That's 10%. And from that, we wrote only 40 indication of interest. That's 2%. And from that,
If we submitted 20 LOIs, you might submit LOIs to only 1% of the 2,000 deals that you have reviewed.
and that's what you should be doing, because time and money are your most precious resources that you must manage very well. And as you can see, of the site visits that you made, only half of those will you put through into an LOI. And of the 2,000 that you've visited, or I'm sorry, the 2,000 that you've reviewed, you're only going to close maybe two. And that's what you should expect if you're a new private equity group, or if you're a fundless sponsor, or you're an individual who's looking to acquire a couple businesses and you're trying to find some good ones. It really takes a lot of effort and work to find good transactions that meet your needs.